tell me what Slater Success Coaching is for starters.
Slater Success Coaching is about working with women business owners, growing and developing a business on a great foundation, and making sure the actual owner of that business is earning an income by creating a plan and having accountability to achieve it.
There's a big difference between what you're taking in every day or every week and what your real income is, isn't there? And is that something where a lot of women, or a lot of your clients, I would say, kind of, I don't know, turn a blind eye, maybe?
Women naturally are resistant to looking at their numbers and actually knowing what's coming into their business every day, knowing what their expenses are. So every client I work with, we break that down and we have a solid understanding of what's coming in and what's going out. Then we can create a plan for having an excess and then have a plan that extends to where that money is going. Some of that money should be coming home to the business owner, actually coming into the household, possibly paying off debt, creating a savings, and have a strategic plan for that. Another piece of that plan is going to be for the business to grow. Identifying what do you want from your business and how are we going to fund it to get it to grow. It doesn't happen magically. You actually need to have pieces in place.
Do you ever sit down with a new client and ask them, where do you see yourself in 5 years, or how do you see yourself growing, and end up with a blank stare? Kind of, they're just doing their day-to-day and trying to survive, and they really don't have even a mental projection.
And you hit the nail on the head. Too often, if I start with 5 years, I do get that blank stare. So what I've done is I've pulled it back. I'll say, okay, what do you want to be in 3 months, 6 months, a year? And then we can go to the 5 years. So if we're looking to earn 6 figures in a business, 6 figures in your personally in the next 365 days, where do you want that business to go? Are you looking to building a business that's a $500,000 business? Is more than that, less than that? Why? What do you want from it? Where does it fulfill you, and where does it fit in with your life? Building a business without taking your life into consideration is setting yourself up to implode, and actually will lead to unhappiness as opposed to happiness.
And I like that you emphasize that. I know one of the first times we ever talked, we talked about balance in your life, valuing your own personal life as much as your business. And actually, in the long run, that helps your bottom line, right?
Absolutely. If you don't actually understand what you want and have your business support it, so here is, we could talk about your life plan. What do you want in your life? What's on your bucket list? And then your business, as much as you love it, needs to be in support of it. So what is the plan? What do you want? And then what is the plan to get there? Where are we navigating it? How are we, what turns, what highways are we traveling to get there?
Exactly. Yeah. Not just work harder, work harder, work harder.
No, the harder you work, the more you're going to crash. So it's not about how hard you work, it's how smart you work. And I'm a big person on calendaring. So you make sure you're fitting your business, your marketing, your planning in with your, your hobbies. You should be taking care of yourself. You should be exercising. You should be with your girlfriends. Is there date night? Is it girls' night out? Do you like to make jewelry? Do you like to go dancing? What are you doing for yourself, for your own fulfillment? If you're not tapped into that, and we actually work it on a calendar to make sure it's happening, that gives you the impetus to get out of the bed in the morning. Even when you're doing 12 hours days, at a conference, it's a limited period of time, and then the balance comes back.
And that makes a lot of sense. And does that also tie into, if you valued yourself, your right to have a girls' night out, or your right to go and exercise and take care of yourself, does that also feed into your ability to value yourself when you're conducting business and setting rates and charging fees?
One thing about women, we all too often, and I have been challenged with this in my growth as a business owner for the past 25 years, so myself included. asking and charging what we're worth. We think it's about us, but it's really about our client. It's how we could be of service to them and how we can help them and what they will get out of it. And I work with my clients on shifting it from us to the client. The results and benefits the client is going to get out of the work they do with us, what we bring to the table. That price point and identifying that price point and that how much am I worth? I'm worth $1 million, but can I ask for it? Probably not. And then we take that and we take the change, the results the client's getting, bring that value, and guess what? The financial aspect will trickle down, come back to our business, come back to our lives, and we're going out dancing.
I love that. That sounds so awesome and so different from how it is many times, especially for someone starting a business, but a lot of times when they've worked themselves into a rut in their business as well.
I have worked with clients that have come to me after they've imploded. They've worked so hard, they're struggling, they're still not making money, and they say, Ivy, I can't even work with you because I'm working so hard, you're gonna make me work harder and I have no money to pay you. And I said, you're on the wrong merry-go-round. You know, you're on that hamster wheel. We need to get you off of it. If you don't get off of it, you're going to absolutely fall flat. And that's where you're leading. So it's a matter of getting off the hamster wheel. It's not how hard you work again. It's working smart. It's working and breaking things down into steps. Understanding what you charge and what your clients receive from working with you.
If you have someone who's on the hamster wheel, and you know you have to do this in steps to point them in a better direction, give me an example of one of the first things you might give them as an exercise or a small change to make.
I would stop and say, I want you to do a brainstorm, a data dump. I refer to them as data dumps. Everything in your mind, everything you want to do in your life, everything that's on your to-do list, on your bucket list. Let's put the business aside for a second. Let's get into you. Why you're waking up in the morning. Reconnect with your why. What do you love? What do you want for yourself? Then we're going to put that aside and we're going to do the same thing about your business. What do you love about your business? Why are you in business? Get reconnected to the why of why you're waking up. Then we could break down the work steps. The work steps now have a purpose. Before you were just showing up every day to work. You were working and you were working and you're getting more tired and you're becoming more exhausted. You're getting less done. You know, the whole business, the whole building will implode on itself. So when we get in touch with our purpose in our life and our purpose in our business, I call it the why, then we break down the steps to reach it. Take the purpose in our business and bring it together and put it on a path to what we want in our lives. As soon as we do that, we can break down action steps daily of what needs to be done and get you to reach it. Bring in the clients, charge them. I had somebody recently, here's a great example. I had somebody recently who was doing fabulous work. She has a laundry list of clients and she gives everything away. And she goes, Ivy, I can't afford to pay you. I said, really? But you're always so busy. You make such an impact. You turned one client into, you know, in a few months, they brought another $150,000 in business based on the work you're doing with them. She goes, oh, I never really charged them. I just wanted them to help. I wanted to help in their business. And I said, is it valuable to help somebody else and that we can't afford to pay ourselves, we can't afford to eat, we can't afford to do the things we love and enjoy, we can't afford to give back to the charities that are important to us? That's the key and the turning of it. That identifies what you're giving to others, what they're receiving, and then bringing it back, taking the baby steps. She has now, this client alone is now working with 2 clients without pay because they are her charities, true honest to God charities that give back. And every other client she's deriving an income from. We're building the value there, and as she does new proposals for more clients coming in, she's coming from an entirely different perspective.
I hear this sometimes from women business owners, and I suffer from it myself. It's the joy and the pain of being a woman business owner sometimes, which is most of my clients are women, and I like to work with clients I like. So I end up developing friendships with them, and we get to know each other and we care about each other. Sometimes that translates into their expectation that they're going to be able to ask for a reduction in rate, or they're going through a rough patch, or they've decided to expand and they don't have as much money. Couldn't I cut my rate? I find that so intensely uncomfortable. Sometimes I've said yes, and I'm angry about myself, with myself to this day. So how do you remain strong and maintain your value in that situation?
You know, you introduced me, Anne, as the CEO of Slater Success Coaching, okay? By introducing me as the CEO, I'm not Ivy Slater. I have a responsibility to a business. The business is paying not just myself, I pay other people. I have a responsibility to them. Even if they're virtual assistants, part-time assistants, I pay my accountant, I pay an attorney, I pay a bookkeeper. It's not, what I said earlier, it's not about me. It is about the client and the other people I'm responsible for. So I tend to love my clients. We have really strong relationships. But when I'm working with them as the CEO of my business. I will go have drinks with them as their friend. We will laugh and we will giggle. We might trash our husbands, saga over our children. You wouldn't believe the phone call I got from my kid. We will have all those conversations. But when we're working on their business, we're working on their business. And the responsibility and the transaction financially is they are a client in that moment, and I have to do them service, which means I have to hold them accountable for their actions. I have to hold them to a standard that helps them grow their business and reach their goals. And if I just sit back and I'm on their girlfriend and we're, kind of doing this thing, that's not the role at the time. And when I'm the CEO of Slater Success, I'm the CEO not just for me, but for the people who I am responsible for, the bills I'm responsible for. And that has to be the division of a business owner and somebody who's running a business as a hobby.
I like that way of thinking, because it helps you say there are times you have to say no, and you're not just saying no because, no, I want more money. It's because I have a responsibility to those that I'm paying to help me do my business.
And guess what? No is not a 4-letter word. It only has 2 letters. It's okay to say. No is okay. Boundaries, what comes into the saying no is understanding your bandwidth. I understand at this point in my life how many clients I will take on a private scale. I know my bandwidth, okay? No is okay. If I reach that limit, I have to either change the structure of my business, which is a choice, or I have to say, you know what, you can do a group program with me this way. I have to respect myself, because if I take the self-respect away, if I don't respect myself, I can't ask others to respect me.
And that is so true. Twice in the last, I'd say 5 years, I have actually agreed to reduce my fee for a client because of their sob story, whatever it was. And I've lost them within 3 or 4 months. And I'm convinced it's because they started to devalue what I was doing. It was a very bad decision.
It's, in the same way, sometimes we want to reduce fees. Sometimes we really need to raise our fees. We're taking clients in at a higher level now, but we have these clients sitting here, but we love them. We want to continue to help them. Are we being of service to them, not to increase them? Because our work has grown. We're doing more for people. They're getting even more out of us. You see, the one thing I've learned about women in business is we give so much, and our clients become so important to ourselves that we're giving so much of ourselves at all times. We're continuously, as women, we're at Women at Woodstock because everybody wants to learn and grow from being here. That's one of the reasons everybody has shown up. I can't wait. I'm going to learn so much. I was up at 6:30 this morning with Barbara out walking and talking to people because I could learn from them. That's going to come back into my business, and I'm going to bring more value to others with what I've learned. As women, we value education. So we continue to learn and we continue to give it back. But are our rates and how we're packaging and what we're doing in our business reflecting the growth we're doing and we're continuing to give back too? Or are we continuing to stay in charge at this level, but we've raised what we've done to this level, and it's so much more.
I've been unofficially mentoring a young woman who's a writer, a web content writer, and she's dealing with negotiations and setting rates and so on, and she's getting requests for proposals and talking to me before she sends them out. Mm-hmm. And she'll put up a proposal for something, writing something, and it's like so small, and she'll say, well, it'll only take me 15 minutes to do that and a half hour to do that. And I've been telling her, first of all, you have to factor in the time you spent talking to them, learning what the project is, reading what it is that they want you to do and figuring it out, in addition to actually doing it. And you have to factor in your years of education and your value as a writer, and the fact that virtually no one writes as well as you do. That's value. It's not, oh, it only took 15 minutes. And it's hard to keep there.
Here's a great story, and I do work with a lot of artists and creatives, and this is a huge thing for them. They only see the actual work, not the creative process, and the value in it, and that you must include that in when you charge out your services. So somebody told me the story over dinner a while ago, and I love it. Picasso's at a cafe, and a woman comes up to him with a napkin, and she goes, can you just do a doodle for me? You know, a ditty, a doodle. And he goes, of course. And he, goes 1, 2, 3. She goes, and will you put your name on it? Absolutely. And he signs Picasso. And she holds her hand out for the napkin, and he goes, that will be $70,000. And she goes, it took you 2 minutes, not even, maybe 90 seconds. She goes, oh no, it's not what it took me to put on this paper. It's what it took me to get here to be able to put it on the paper. And I think that story has such impact of understanding, if you're a writer, the years you've put in to become the writer you are today, the education, the workshops you continue to go to, the reading you're doing, everything you're putting into to where you're at. The same thing with photographers and interiors designers and sculptors and painters. It's not just the piece that somebody's buying. They're buying actually a piece of you, a portion of yourself. And how do we put a number on everything we have to give?
That's perfectly put. Speaking of creative people and speaking of writers, I understand you have a new book that's just been published.
Yes, I have a copy with me. It's Conquering Your Fear of Money, A Woman's Guide to Business Success. In this book, I've compiled everything I did to grow my business presently, everything I've done and used to grow my printing business for 20 years. The worksheets, there's a worksheet per chapter. It's about really understanding what you do have to do to work on your business and not just in your business, to be a proactive business owner and not a reactive business owner. We understand through this book, it's that the number story is really nice for women. It actually, by knowing our numbers, it gives us freedom. It gives us freedom of choice, freedom of opportunity. So in the book, Conquering Your Fear of Money, A Woman's Guide to Business Success, I'm going to share my journey, I'm going to share the worksheets, and I share my clients' journeys. So again, it's not about me.
It's a lot of stories about your clients.
It's a lot of stories. It's how they implemented what we worked on, and it came through to their life, how they set the goals for themselves in their business, how they figured out exactly how to track their numbers without knowing QuickBooks. It's okay, I can't open QuickBooks either. I know to the penny what I made in, last month, but I don't do it through QuickBooks. I do it my way. I do it a user-friendly way.
That's a good point. You don't have to do the things that you always hear about, that you have to set up your profit and loss sheet or your whatever. Maybe you can do it in a way that's reasonable and makes sense to you, and it still does you a good job.
It has to be fun, and it has to be engaging. I'm a visual person, so I like visuals. I do things with colors. I do things with Post-it notes. I do incentives that way. I have heart-shaped Post-it notes. I have flower-shaped Post-it notes and star-shaped in different colors. It's a matter of making it work, that it works for you so you can and will do it. It's for your bookkeeper and your accountant to make sure your QuickBooks is right, or your Quicken. That's not your job. If we spend the time that you do on that, focusing on your business, you will be more profitable.
Even paying for that service, exactly so.
Absolutely.
So thank you so much. You made a lot of good points. And if someone wants to find out more about you, where would they go? What's your website?
My website is www.slatersuccesscoaching.com. I'll also say our website is a little bit in transition, which is exciting. There's going to be something new out in 2014. So if you have just a question, just email support@Slater Success Coaching, and everything comes to me, and I'm here to answer your questions, to give you the support, help you step into your value, and have what you're worth in your business and your life.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Anne. It's been a pleasure.